Welcome. This is our Idaho office. And for the next few minutes, we're going to talk about footwear, that's boots, for hunting in the Rockies. I realize not everybody hunts in the Rockies, but what applies to the Rockies can also apply to any other place. Just so happens we live right smack dab in the middle of the Rockies. But this is where we live. This is basically where we work. This is what we do as an ammunition developer and now doing affiliate marketing. We want people to see how we live and what we do. And this is very much my office. So is the outdoors. So is pretty much anything I do unless I'm asleep. And even some of that's in the outdoors in my office. What I've done today, I want to talk to you about a few different brands of boots. And believe it or not, these boots are all fairly new. They're all bought within the last 2 years. You can't tell that by looking at them, except for these Kenetrex. These Kenetrex I've had for 5 or 6 years. Anyway, the difference between a high top and a low top, if you're hiking in snow, you want high tops. Or low tops with gaiters, but gaiters probably won't work very well on low tops. So my first couple of backpack sheep hunts that were 10 to 14 days in duration, I just wore Keens, low tops. They were lightweight, they're durable, very comfortable for my big fat flat feet. The only problem with Keens, and I'll get into the problem with them later. The newer models, I've noticed they've changed. They've come out with a lot of models now. But you'll notice I have a pair of Danners here. These are not your father's Danners. Danner has changed a bunch to keep up with the market, and they've done a good job. They're very comfortable. They're even as comfortable as these Under Armours. And Under Armours are so darn comfortable, you don't even need to break them in. But let's remember, everybody's feet are shaped different. So boots become a personal choice, just like a pair of pants or any other clothing article. Everybody is shaped different. Everybody has different nerve endings. Everybody has different needs. I've even got a pair of Irish setters here. They're good boots. These again have been around for 40 years, but not the new ones. The new ones flat out work. They're comfortable, they're easy to break in. Here's another pair of Danners. And of course, here's my cold weather Kenetrex. They've got all kinds of insulation in them and stuff. And the chains come off and on. I just put those on. If I'm gonna be in creek bottoms, like in Western Oregon or someplace like that where the logs are all slimy and slippery, I wear these. If I'm gonna be on ice, I sometimes wear these. It just depends on what I'm doing. Okay, a lot of you need ankle support. I don't. I just have good, strong ankles. I prefer to hike in stuff like this, like most of your sheep seasons, for bighorn sheep or Dall sheep, or stone sheep, most of those seasons start in August. Almost everywhere across Canada and Alaska, they start in August. So I'm not in the snow, and if I am, it's for a relatively short period of time. So here's the knock on the Keens. If you look at the tread, the edges are nice and smoothed off. Well, that's just wonderful for walking on semi-hilly or flat ground. But if you're on a hillside that's either very muddy or very grassy and it rains, those things slide right off a mountainside. And guess how I learned that? By doing it. And I'm gonna save you the trouble. If you hike on steep mountains that grow a lot of grass or are real slimy with certain kinds of mud, avoid any tread that is smooth on the edges. What you want is a vicious, sharp, knife edge tread on the edge. And I don't care so much about the rest of the tread as I do this edge. If you're walking on a steep hillside, with a smooth edge like the Keens have. And by the way, Keens does make treads now with a sharp edge, but they're making several models now, but they didn't when I bought those. But you want this sharp edge. You'll notice all of my boots have a sharp edge on them because, whoops, same boot. All of them have that sharp edge because you're walking on the side of your foot and you want to plant your foot into the hillside. And if you've got a rounded tread, your foot just slides. You'll notice all of them have a sharp edge. Okay, the other thing, waterproof. You know, you think, well, a waterproof boot is better than a boot that's not waterproof. No, it depends on what you're doing. I tend to walk through rivers. I don't take my shoes off to walk through rivers because they're full of rocks and sharp sticks and all kinds of things I can poke or injure my foot on or bruise my foot. So a pair of shoes like this that aren't waterproof are really, really handy if you're going to walk in water. Because after you get out of the water, a waterproof boot, if the water comes up over your ankle and into the boot, they don't dry for a couple of days. Well, I don't mind hiking in wet feet as long as they dry out as I hike. But these boots that are waterproof, well, you can forget them drying out all day as you hike. But a shoe like this, the water leaked in, it'll leak right back out. It'll squish out as you take steps. So you kind of have to, you wonder why I have so many boots. And I have this many boots at our place in Africa too, because I wear a different shoe for different needs, different times of year, different types of hunting or hiking or fishing. If I'm going fishing, I'm wearing little short tops that I can stand in the water and fish with. And then when I get out of the water drains out of them. They're dry within an hour or two. Insulated boots I don't generally like. I like to buy boots a size bigger or a half a size bigger and insulate with socks as I choose to insulate. If you buy boots with a bunch of that Thinsulate sewn into them, you can't change it. It is what it is. These Kenetrex, it's the only pair of Kenetrex I have, and I like them. They're a good boot. Of course, you'll notice the sharp edges. And on these, I have cleats because if I get on river bottoms in wet climates like Western Oregon, everything is slippery. Everything grows slime on it. The rocks grow slime. The logs grow slime. The mud is even slimy. And so these work really well. And they're easy to take off, easy to put on and take off. I just slid them over the top of my Kenetrex and I left them on for this video. So we've got Kenetrex, 2 pair of Danners, 1 pair of Under Armours, a pair of Keens, and a pair of Irish Setters. And I don't really have a favorite. I'm using boots that are super comfortable, that require almost no break-in. If your boot requires 50 miles of hiking to break it in, it's not fitting your foot right. Modern boots should be very comfortable and should require very little break-in. These are what I currently use. Very happy with them. And of course, one of the problems, some of these are 2 years old. One of the problems is, boot makers change their models that they make almost yearly, which is a shame. Because if I find something I like, now I got to go buy 5 pairs of them before they discontinue them and make a big change. Anyway, that's the in and out of wilderness boots for all different kinds of seasons, for all different kinds of purposes. These are what I use. You can find these at Cabela's. You can find them at Sportsman's Warehouse, Bass Pro. You can find a lot of these at REI, all of which we will provide links to so you can go online and shop for them. I hope this is of some benefit. And I hope it keeps you from having to reinvent the wheel. I invented the wheel through decades and decades of doing this stuff, and I've made every mistake you can make. This video is here so you don't have to make the mistakes and reinvent the wheel. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.